Outer Orange.
I don't know what I'm doing. No, I'm being for real. I don't know what I'm doing. You probably should watch this video. You can stay for my pretty face. It's okay. Just stay for my pretty face. Previous see, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about Kheios. So last time I did a video on this, I kind of memed it up like a lot, but this time I'm not memeing it. However, I'm gonna be real with you. I built this deck and I'm kind of like, yeah, I don't know if there's a better way to build it. I'm almost positive that the Kheios stands out there like Kusha probably have a way better list than what I have, but I at least want to share with you guys that this deck exists because this is not a very popular deck. You're not going to see many deck profiles on it, so I figured I would make one because, hey, maybe you want to try it, and there's so many ways to build this. It's a Highlander deck, so you have so many options to go. I've had the deck this entire time, and I've just been slowly upgrading it with a couple cards here and there as the sets have been coming out because that's just Highlander, so a lot of 1-0s, so you can just kind of roll with it. Thank you for 50 cards for supplying some of the cards here. If you need cards yourself, you can shop at 50cards.shop, code orange for any of those goodies, and there's a bunch of little deals going on right now. You can check those out as well. So the sleeves I'm using is actually these Kaguya Love is War sleeves from my ride line here, and then these are interesting. A lot of people actually compliment me a lot on these sleeves because I have multiple variations of these. These are the Yukio 5D sleeves. Basically, it's a collab with the Spy X family. Well, it's a collab that Mana Moon did with Spy X family, the Yukio 5D. So I get a lot of compliments on these. I think these are super sexy and cool to look at, and I really like the art. But my favorite part about these is actually the border. The border is not black or white or silver. It's actually like a brown red color, and it matches first of all with these, but it just looks so different and cool. So I'm a big fan of these. And the deck box, I'm actually using a very boring deck box. It's nothing cool. It's just an old Vanguard deck box. Just I don't know, some Sanctuary card deck box. It's just a spare deck box. We're currently using nothing too crazy there. So let's go ahead and get started with the profile. So here we have the ride line. You want the Kheios ride line, so you want all 4 Kheioses. I've tried going other approaches. It just doesn't feel as good as this ride line does. This one is the grade 1 Kheios. Basically, you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck and you put all normal units into soul, and then the rest go to the bottom. You know, triggers, stuff like that, they go to the bottom in this case. And then you have this, that's when this is brought upon this, and then this guy, when he's brought upon this guy, you basically soul charge a card. If it's a normal unit, you choose a card from soul and call it out to the board. If it's a trigger unit, draw a card, which is pretty nice. And then last but not least, we go into Kheios himself. If you guys don't know how Kheios works, he basically works based off how many different cards are in your soul, which is here, and basically after certain conditions you get cool additions. So we did get a new Kheios. This is the old one. You wanted to play the old one, you want to go into the new one. His effect says counterblast, discard a card from hand, look at top 3 cards of your deck, choose 1 from among them, put it in your hand, 1 to the board, 1 to soul, basically. So you just set up, you know, filter a little bit, discard bad cards, get better cards to board, hand, and soul. And then the other ability says when this unit attacks, if your soul has 8 more cards, you can choose 1 unit and it gets, you choose 1 rigger, gets 10k. If you have 13 or more different card names, you choose all of your units and they get plus 10k. So this is very convenient. Or all your rear guards, so it doesn't include himself. It's very convenient. So basically you can just have a big powerhouse or some restanding cards, so they really, you know, work off of the 10k really well, and it just works real well. The 13 may seem kind of bad, but actually you'll usually hit it 9 out of 10 times. It's actually very easy to hit the 13 condition. This deck just has so many good tools and ways to get there. That's not a big deal. You can even get 5 attacks on first ride. You can just go crazy stuff with this deck. I think the biggest downside to this deck is just finding Makani, which is the other part of this deck that makes it strong. If you don't see Makani, this deck just falls apart really fast. There's no direct search for Makani. It's all just top 2, top 3, top 5, top whatever. So that's basically just how the deck works. But let's go into, so we talked about the ride line a little bit. The ride line is just basically a bunch of soul charging, a bunch of looking, and then, you know, just doing your thing. After we're done with this guy, we're actually going to go into, we have our new Kheios now. This just came out. This is part of the new set here. This is the new homie in the house. Basically, you want to ride him on top of the old one, but his skill is definitely really good. He says when this unit is placed by riding on the other Kheios, you may soul charge 3. You don't have to, by the way. You can just choose to, and then you can choose up to 2 cards from your soul and put 1 of them into hand and call the other one a rear guard circle. It's actually really nice because you can pick up like anything from soul and put it to hand. You can call anything from your soul to the board. So usually you'll be calling up Makani, and then you're grabbing like some kind of shield value to hand or whatever else you need, or maybe if you need to recycle something. So that's basically that. And then you activate Persona, so you instantly get that 10k buff on the top of that. And then once per turn, if your soul has 13 or more cards with different card names, you can find Kheios, which is this guy right here, and until end of turn, all units get 10k, and this unit gets a crit, and then at the end of that turn you basically ride back into this guy as rest. And that's the whole thing. That the crit and the 10k may kind of seem kind of weak, but it's actually pretty strong. So basically what you do is you set up your whole board, and then you activate his second ability, you get the crit on him, and all your units get 10k, by the way. That includes the Vanguard, so he will be swinging for 33 with the crit, and then you'll have restanding Makanis that'll also be swinging for 33, 43 depending on the board state. And then you have like the boosters that are going to go insane, and you have Quindaloo that'll usually do some crazy garbage trick stuff, and that's basically the setup there. It's because you can grab grab cards from Soul, you can basically set up a end game turn really quickly with this card now. And now you have an extra access to Persona too. So before you used to run one of these and 3 more Persona, but now you have one of these and you have 4 Persona. So you have just better access to those crazy numbers and all that stuff. Now going into the rest of the deck, we have of course the 4 Makani. You definitely want this as like a mandatory, like, add 4 copies. This is like basically your win con. This card just says restand. On place, you can counterblast, soul blast. You can, whatever you soul blast in your soul, whatever the grade is, you can retire something on your opponent's board. You'll rarely ever use that effect just because this deck counterblasts a lot. You don't want to go super crazy on your soul, so you want to be careful of that effect. But it's mainly the second skill that you want that works with Kheios specifically. Is the effect of when you swing with him, you can restand with him as long as you have 8 or more different card names in your soul. He restands, and at the end of that battle or at the end of the turn, he will at the end of the turn he will just go into soul, and then you can bring him back out other ways. And you definitely want to see 2 pretty quickly. It's basically your 5 attack win condition. You really need to see his card, so when you're digging through your stuff, this is like priority. Next, the only grade 2s in the deck is actually the new grade 2 that just came out in the new set right here. This guy is called, there's a crazy name, inciting corruption Agamaniv or something. We'll just call him a god. No, I'm just kidding. We'll call him inciting. So this is inciting. This card does a lot for that basically other cards we're doing, but just kind of in one card. Before you have to run like a bunch of other cards. Now you just have this guy. I'm still 50-50 on this. The CP is like extremely heavy, but basically when he's placed on rear, if you have a Kheios in a card, you make it look at top 2, but 1 to hand, 1 to soul. So that's really convenient. You can just kind of keep looking and digging and looking and digging. And then it says whenever your Mikani unit is placed from soul, you can call, if you have a Vanguard Kheios in this card name, you can discard a card, soul charge, call this card out, and it gets boosted until the turn. So that's really convenient because you can basically call him from soul, and then now you have a booster, and you know, he's gonna be swinging for 20, and he just gets really beefy. You can put him behind Makani, and this is gonna be like a really disgusting column here because this alone will be 23, 33, 43 just on its own. So, and you want grade 2s boosting because that's just, you just want that, and the dig is really nice. The fact that you can replenish board, I think the only downside is you have to discard for this cost. The deck already kind of discards a lot. You'll notice that Kheios himself discards, and there's a bunch of stuff discards. You go through your hand really fast, and that's definitely the weakness of the deck, but it is a dark states like DI type of deck, and DI has never really been that good with hands, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, this card's pretty good. It's the only grade 2 in the deck, and I think it's really awesome. Next, I still personally run this order. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, but I do still think this order is just insane. This is the Kheios order. It was a promo. It's pretty cheap. It's nothing too crazy, but this is the one who governs Kheios. Here he is with this orange little hair. So you play with counterblast. Yes, another counterblast. That's crazy. I know. That's wild. So you look at top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to the same number of cards from them as the number of cards in your soul with Kheios in their different card names. So this is the part where you really want that grade 0 Kheios. That's why you really need that specific aspect. But basically, top 5, grab a bunch of good cards and weave the triggers out, and then shuffle your deck. And then if your soul has 8 or more cards, you can choose one card for your soul called rear. Choose one of your rear guys with Makani's games, get 10k power. So I was talking about the 10k can kind of stack. You can basically use this late game, and the deck then is insane. You can find Makani's this way, and it just gets bigger and bigger. This is definitely a really good promo to have. You definitely want to see this as early as possible. The CV can be kind of costly, but you just have to play very carefully with this deck. The resources are kind of tight. Of course, you also want to run the grade 1 Makani, as he lets you go around the Highlander condition. So basically his effect says he counts as a different card name instead of counting as the same card name, which is really important. So if you soul charge 4 of these, it doesn't matter, they all count as a different card name. And he has another effect. On place you can soul charge, and then if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, you can put this into soul and then call out a Makani, because you'll shove him in, and then you'll call out your restanders, which is like your win con basically, and you just kind of go crazy with that. I have more like one-ofs kind of coming through. I got the one swirler. Honestly, I'm not like too sure if this is necessary anymore. I just think the power buff of this card is just insane, so I still run it. So you can choose to run, so you can put Quinn Liu here if you want or something else. I still run the gunning ram. I think the gunning ram is just good. Again, the on-play soul charge, and then late game if you just feel like drawing cards and you have a lot of soul. Especially we're gonna come into eventually, if we ever get the cool crits, the crits that counts as 2 names, it would actually be easier to get to the soul conditions, so make it easier to want to soul blast. And actually there might be come to a point where we can actually have a hand in Kheios, because like this card will actually come through a lot more, because a lot of the cards will be counted as 2 names. You can actually get away with soul blasting and drawing more, and not being afraid of like hitting the condition. You don't even have to soul charge as heavily. Names, you're not decking out as much, and you can actually afford to draw and not worry about your hand depleting as much. So that's gonna be really nice. I got 1 Quinn Liu. I've seen a lot of us run 2. It's probably correct. I'm just running 1 right now because I can't even find my second copy. I'm just rolling with it. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. But you put this unit into soul, you choose one of your rear guards, and it gets 2k. And then after that, if your soul has 7 more cards, for that battle, if your opponent were to use a grade, if they were to guard, they can't use grade 1 or greater cards. So basically PGs are offline. They can only guard with triggers. And if you're swinging for like 70k, 80k, and you have this active, basically your opponent can't PG it. The only thing that can PG is Vanguard. And if you have 2 of these, it just gets disgusting. This card just gets like absolutely nuts. I run 3 Pony right now. I'm not 100% sure if Pony is necessary anymore. I think sometimes you do get stuck with Soul, so I think Pony's good. I run 3. I used to run 4. Basically had Kusha's list, and I just and now I'm kind of like, do we still need this? I don't know, Kusha. Do we still need this? Tell me, Kusha. Tell me in the comments below. Do we need Pony? I assume we do, but you can tell me if we need Pony or not. But that's Pony. Oh, I didn't even say what Pony does. Pony says bind from Soul Charge 2. So basically just like a hybrid engine to go through your soul as fast as possible, to get to your soul as fast as possible. Then we got the different PGs. Obviously, since we do need different card names, we're running every single one of the PG that we have access to. So they all do the same thing, with the exception of the Blitz, obviously, but the Blitz also counts as a different different card name, so that's really cool. I'm not gonna lie, I do not know what to do with the triggers. I let them exactly how I had them before. They're probably going to need to change. I run the Dark States OT. This can probably change to the blue or red one. I don't think this is necessary, but you can tell me what your thoughts are. I run 1 front just because fronts are nice. I don't know. I like the shield, but you can also make this a crit. We run the 4 different heals. So here's the four different heals. I do want one to counter heals. So you don't have to run it. You can run regular heals or whatever heals you want, just as long as they're different card names, but there's plenty of them now. We run the draws. So we run 5 draws. I think this deck still needs the draws, and we want to run the 10k shield draw. To be honest with you, the draws do come up. But it might be reasonable to maybe cut 1 back, maybe make it a front or a crit. I'm not too sure yet, but I do still think this is necessary. Obviously, you want the different card names, so just make sure you have different card names. And then we just got the 5 crits going on right here. Also, all different card names. And then we have the 1 soul crit, though it doesn't actually matter which one you run as long as you're running one. And then, yeah, that's just it. That's so 5. Just to give you guys a quick rundown, it's 5 crits, I believe 5 draw, 4 heals, 1 random front, and then we have the over trigger right here. So yeah, that's a good old solid 16 cards. So overall, that's the deck. This deck is actually really hard to play, hard to build for, because weirdly enough, this is one of the, in my opinion, this is one of the hardest decks to pilot. It's actually insanely difficult to know which combos to use when, how to properly set up, because you have to play kind of greedy, but you also have to play carefully greedy, because if you get too greedy, then you'll deck out, and if you don't get greedy enough, then you won't kill. So that line in between is actually really hard. And maybe as I start like, you know, brainstorming more, maybe I'll make some like combo videos, or maybe do a combo shorts kind of explaining some pop-off turns you can do, because ideally you can like set up basically the setup that you usually want. This is like the ideal setup, but in order to get here, you know, you need like a soul and stuff, and just setting up that part is like probably the hardest part. You know, like you need like something like this happening, but this is usually a good setup. And then, you know, once you go into the other Chaos, crit pressure, the front row, the persona, the restand, the everything, and then if you Quinn Liu here, then it's usually a game. And then this is like my favorite card. You just basically use this to go crazy. But this is ideally the setup. I think you still want to rush super hard between like turn 1 and 3. You just want to like go ballistic as crazy, and then on Vanguard swing, you just basically like you commit to murder. I really like the new card, and there has been results, and you know, I just think it's cool. I really like the aesthetic of this. I love the new art on this one too. I just think it looks like super cool. Like, he just looks so badass. Look at him go. He's got his snake pals and everything. He going in. So let me know below how you feel, kind of what you set up for, what you try to go. If you try to rush, if you try to kill, are you playing more sustain? Are you playing more defense? Because you can play defense, you know, I could like go with the new blitz orders and kind of like hold back a little bit and then pop off like a little bit later. Is that ideal? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I just like the deck. I just think it's cool. I play it definitely more casually, but it does have a competitive side to it too. So you can let me know below sort of what that is, if you feel like talking about it. If not, that's cool too. But I'm gonna leave it there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, 50cards.shop if you need anything. Code orange for all the good stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in a future video. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. See you later. Peace out. Bye.